A legacy of terror. Throughout the dark chapters of human history, there are names written not in ink, but in blood. Some of them fade into obscurity, others echo across the centuries. And one of those names is Vlad III of Wallachia, remembered by history as Vlad the Impaler. He was no conqueror in the mold of Alexander the Great or Genghis Khan. His power did not rest on vast armies or glittering empires. His legacy was built on one single weapon: fear. Cruelty so extreme that even his enemies whispered about him in terror. Vlad turned his small, fragile realm into a land no invader wanted to enter. But who was this man? A sadistic monster? A cold-blooded strategist, or something darker? A ruler who became the living embodiment of horror? To understand Vlad, we must journey back into his world, a brutal place where mercy meant death, and survival was bought only through blood. Childhood in the shadow of the dragon. Vlad was born in 1431, the son of Vlad II Dracula, a member of the Order of the Dragon, a brotherhood created to defend Christianity against the rising tide of the Ottoman Turks. But the world Vlad was born into was unstable, cruel, and unforgiving. His homeland of Wallachia was a tiny principality trapped between two giants. To the south, the mighty Ottoman Empire, relentless in its expansion. To the west, the Kingdom of Hungary, which also laid claim to Wallachia. Wallachia was less a kingdom than a buffer zone, and its rulers were pawns in a dangerous game of power. As a child, Vlad and his younger brother were taken as hostages to the Ottoman court. They lived not as honored guests, but as living insurance against their father's betrayal. Any false step, and their lives would be forfeit.
In these years, Vlad absorbed lessons that would shape his destiny. He saw how the Ottomans ruled through spectacle, public punishments, fear, and the unshakable certainty that disobedience meant death. The young prince understood, to survive, you must make others fear you more than they could ever dare harm you. A throne of blood. When Vlad returned home, he found chaos. His father had been betrayed and murdered by rival boyars, the powerful Wallachian nobles. His brother had been tortured to death. Loyalty in Wallachia was worth nothing. The boyars changed sides as easily as changing clothes. Alliances were empty promises. In 1448, at just 17 years old, Vlad first seized the throne, briefly. His early rule didn't last, but it revealed his nature. He would not compromise, he would not forgive, and he would never show weakness. When he regained power in 1456, it was for real. And this time, Vlad came prepared. He would carve his rule into the very flesh of his people. Where other rulers offered coin or favor, Vlad's tool of choice was something else entirely: terror. The Easter of Blood. One of Vlad's most infamous acts took place on Easter Sunday, 1459. He invited the Wallachian boyars, the very nobles who had betrayed his family, to a grand feast. The hall was filled with music, laughter, the clinking of cups. The boyars thought they were safe, and then Vlad gave the signal. The doors were locked. His guards stormed in. The older nobles were seized and impaled immediately. The younger and stronger, along with their families, were marched away on a brutal journey through mountains and forests. Their destination, a construction site. Vlad forced them to build his fortress with their bare hands. Many perished on the way, others broke under the endless labor. Their bones were left beneath the stone foundations of his castle, their lives quite literally mortared into Vlad's legacy. In a single night, Vlad erased an entire generation of Wallachian nobility. Diplomacy by nail and hammer. Vlad's cruelty did not stop with his own people. Foreign envoys also learned the cost of crossing him. When Ottoman ambassadors arrived in Targoviste, they refused to remove their turbans, citing custom. Vlad smiled, and then ordered the turbans nailed to their skulls. The men were then impaled, their bodies left as a warning. This was more than execution. It was political theater. A deliberate insult to the most powerful man of the age, Sultan Mehmed II, the conqueror of Constantinople. And it worked.
The Ottomans now saw Vlad not as a minor prince, but as a nightmare in human form. The War of Terror. 1462, Mehmed himself marched into Wallachia with an army said to be over 100,000 strong. For most rulers, this would have been the end. But Vlad did not meet him on the battlefield. Instead, he turned his country into a vision of hell. He ordered scorched earth tactics. Villages burned, wells poisoned, fields destroyed. Whole towns were slaughtered, their corpses impaled and left as warnings. The most infamous moment came when the Ottoman army stumbled upon what chroniclers described as a forest of 20,000 stakes, each bearing the body of a man, woman, or child. Soldiers gagged at the smell, trembled at the sight. Even Mehmed, who had faced countless horrors in his campaigns, is said to have recoiled. And then came Vlad's boldest move, a night attack on the Sultan's camp. With a small force, he infiltrated the massive army, striking terror into the heart of the Ottoman lines. He didn't destroy the army. He didn't need to. The message was clear. Even here in the heart of your camp, you are not safe from me. The birth of a legend. Vlad the Impaler achieved the impossible. He made the most powerful empire of his age hesitate, retreat, and tremble. But the cost was total. His realm was shattered, his people traumatized, his dynasty cursed. And yet, his name endured. Centuries later, he would inspire the Irish author Bram Stoker, who turned Dracula into the world's most famous vampire. But compared to Vlad, the fictional Dracula is just a shadow. The real Vlad was no monster of myth. He was far worse. He was a man. His story is a chilling reminder: the greatest horrors in history are not born of fantasy, they are born of human hands.